true. All right, gather around, young children. It is time for our annual visit and talk about the Ohio Derby. Let's go. Louisville Horse Racing Happy Hour, hanging out with you on a Thursday edition of the program. I say that as though we do this show on other days of the week, Bob, but we simply don't. Bob Roberts joins me, usually a radio guest, but he's decided not to live anymore and is doing something different tomorrow, and so is unavailable to jump on with me here at ESPN 680 and 1057. Well, Bob, good morning, good afternoon at this point.
Right.
Thank you for jumping on. I appreciate it. Tell the good people of America what you and around the world, frankly, we have many listeners in Poland, believe it or not, what you are doing tomorrow.
Well, the start of the day, this is one of the great honors of my life. I have 6 grandchildren, 3 girls, 3 boys. A guy went to high school, built a golf course in Youngstown, beautiful course called Reserve Run. Every year, they have an annual golf outing for all the guys who went to high school, and my foursome is me and my 3 grandsons. So tomorrow will be the 3rd time that we've played together. The first year, 7 under. Last year, 8 under. And these are a couple of high school kids. Yeah, so we're going to try to knock on wood. We haven't had a bogey yet. I probably shouldn't have said that. But. And then when we get off the course, you have the traditional steak dinner. And then my son-in-laws are picking us all up, and we're going to West Virginia to Whitewater Raft. And as I told you before, please watch CNN at night to see if old sports writer washes ashore.
Listen, I kind of need it now. That's the problem. I kind of need it, Bob. I'm not trying to root for these things, but it's funny. I mean, it's a chance for something funny to happen.
So next year you'll have the Railbird Roberts Memorial Steak Race on your show. I told my friends when I go, the steak race I want Ohio accredited maiden fillies claiming 5,000, field of 5 with 2 scratches on race day. Fitting.
Sounds like Ohio racing. Roberts. Hey, for folks on this podcast, because you've only ever joined me on radio, which I've always been appreciative of, and you're certainly very willing to do this as well. Your history in the sport, if people go at Railbird Roberts, by the way, on Twitter, easy to find him. And I've tagged him in a bunch of stuff affiliated with the show and on my own personal Twitter feed as well. You went to a lot of derbies, my friend.
Oh, I covered every Kentucky Derby from Secretariat to Barbaro. So, yeah, and we would go. Those are the glory days of the Cleveland Plain Dealer. I go on Monday and then come home on Sunday. Yeah, it was. I saw some great races. By the way, I'm going to put a plug in here. I wanted something for my grandkids when I'm gone, so I put together a book of my favorite articles.
Yeah, okay.
I made it. It's only $10. Well, not to them, but to anybody else, and it's on Amazon. And the money goes to either Ronald McDonald House or St. Jude's Hospital. And it's called Writings of a Railbird. And you can find that on Amazon. So, yeah, I've been covering horse racing since 1969. And someone said to me, "You've written in 7 decades?"
Yeah, right.
Because I started in the late 60s, and I've made it in the early 2020s. So I've been writing for 7 decades. I'm very blessed. Very blessed.
Incredible. No, an awesome career. You're still doing the harness stuff, of course, with the Ohio Harness Association as well. Yeah. And so, by the way, I assume if it's not $10 for your grandkids, they got to pay like 12, 13, something like that.
No, it's $10 to anybody. Oh, it's 110. Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
And buy 10 of them. Don't be a cheap ass.
I didn't know your signature was $100, Bob. But there you go. From up there in Cleveland. Ohio Derby itself, though, you talk about covering the derbies here. By the way, do you have a Billy Reed story by chance? Is there a Billy Reed story for Bob Roberts?
I met him when I was covering the Derby.
Of course.
And we were in the press box, and they announced, I can't remember what horse it was. One of the favorites was scratched at like 2 o'clock. He goes, "Anybody want to go in the barn area with me to get some quotes?" I go, "I'll go." So, yeah. And then I got to see him every year. They have the annual trainer. You ever go to the trainer's dinner on Tuesday? Yep. In the early days, they would beg us to go. Right. And then the last 5 years, we ain't got tickets for you guys. That was in the old days where you couldn't go online and get race replays. So in the cocktail hour, they would show all the Derby prep races on a loop in the lobby. So now they're going to shut us out. I said, "The hell with them. Let's just go watch the replays, have a drink in the lobby." That's what we did.
Yeah. I got a hotel bar, right?
Yeah. I sat with Billy several times. Yeah, he was the king of Louisville journalism for a long time.
When I talk about covering the race like you just talked about, where you're there for 7, 8, 9, 10 days, 12, 15 hours. Billy started that. I mean, he was the originator of that, and I think because of him, we have this culture on the Derby that we do, as far as media is at least.
We would always worry about, we got to get there at 8 o'clock in the morning to park the car. Then finally, the last 5 years, wait a minute. can watch it on TV. We can bet on the phone. We would go over at 4:00. We didn't miss anything. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Bob Roberts with us. It is Ohio Derby weekend up there at Thistledown. When you started it in 1969, how many tracks were there in Cleveland?
There was, the Bartolo family who owned the 49ers. They bought Thistledown, and they bought a track in Akron called Ascot Park. And then they bought a track right across the street from Thistledown called Randall Park. And then a track right down the street called Cranwood. And they each had like 44-day meets. He brought them all together at Thistledown, tore down Randall, built a mall. The other places became like apartment complexes. So and then there was Northfield Park, the harness track. And out by me, I live in the county next to Cleveland, which is Cuyahoga County. There was a county fair in Painesville, and they had a regular 40-day harness meet. So a ton of action around here.
I used to go to hockey camp in Euclid. Are you near Euclid?
Euclid. I grew up in a city called Willowick, and Euclid's the next city over. That's where my dad would go every day on Lakeshore Boulevard in Euclid to get the racing form. And by the way, I'm so old, the damn form was 50 cents. Now it's $12.
It was on papyrus, and you had to read the Egyptian hieroglyphs and all that.
Yeah, but I remembered how to get to that little drugstore to get the form, and I would go on days he didn't go and take the back way on my bike. I didn't want him to see me getting the form.
Bob Roberts.
Yeah, Euclid. Very good.
Yeah, dude. No, it was fun. That was back before they had a nice stadium for the Indians and all that stuff. So we'd go to the county stadium and all that, and there'd be
the municipal stadium held 80,
there'd be like 700 of us there together watching the Twins.
Right. Rick Manning said when he was playing center field for the Indians, he could hear the hot dog. There's like you said, place held 81,000. Did you imagine what 5,000 looked like in that stadium? Nothing. Nothing.
It was special every summer when we got to go. But
so you're a hockey player?
I was for years. Yeah, played Michigan, Ontario, Alberta, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, all over the place. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
I used to go watch the old Cleveland Barons play in the American Hockey.
Damn right you did.
They were a very successful minor league team. Yeah.
They were really, really good. I hated them growing up because they beat up on my Griffins. Then those Lake Monsters got real good too.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah. All right, so let's go through some of these, and we're not going to do a full deep dive into the handicapping of, say the Lewis Memorial, but can you tell people who George Lewis was?
That's a great story. George Lewis, in the old days, there was the Cleveland Press and the Cleveland Plain Dealer. George Lewis was the Plain Dealer handicapper. Izzy Newborn was the Cleveland Press handicapper. And when I started hanging around at age 21, I was lucky enough to sit between them. Izzy would share all his knowledge with me. George wouldn't tell you crap because you might end up trying to beat him with it one year. Right. He would get there he would get there at 11 in the morning and handicap until like 4 o'clock. They'd run the feature race. He'd roll a piece of paper in his typewriter and type his story. No quotes. Don't interview anybody. All he wanted to do was handicap. So I get the job at the Press. Now it's me against him because Izzy died. And one day we agree on 8 of 9 picks on top. And this is a spirited competition. It was a maiden race, like the 4th race. His horse beats my horse in a photo. I'm walking back to my chair knowing I could have 8 winners and still lose the day, 9-8. And he looks at me and says, "You can go home now." The ultimate. So I told all the guys in the racing form room, the first meet, I beat him. I'm going to run out and get everybody. I'm going to get 5 or 6 pizzas. So I finally beat him after a year or two. And I'm passing out all the pizzas. And I took that box and went in where he said, I go, "George, would you like a piece of pizza?" He knew what that pizza represented. No pizza.
That's fantastic.
He was a great handy.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is the open sort of 2-turn race for Ohio breds in general, older horses here. Bob, the only reason I wanted to talk about these races is because last year they turned into absolute mayhem. I mean, just bombers came in every single one of these races. This pick 5 paid north of $10,000. I mean, it was a wild day at Thistle last year. What do you tend to look for when you're looking at these sorts of races? Because, and you know this, with a state like Ohio, you're going to get horses that try 2 turns on the turf just because that's what's available, right? I mean, there's a condition where they qualify for that sort of thing. Exactly. Horses are we looking at trainer stats? What are you looking at?
Probably in the old days, in the 70s and 80s, there was a guy that was the leading trainer in Ohio, also stabled at Churchill Downs. He was a standout basketball player, I think at Louisville, Jim Morgan.
Oh yeah.
And he had all these well-bred horses, and his jock would get to the half in 49, and nobody's going to catch him. Right. But to these days, the track leans over the years has leaned pretty heavy to speed. But you got to look at a guy like Tim Ham, I think, trainer. He won a race, I think, at Churchill yesterday. So I would look for speed. But you're right. Take the price. What do you need with a favorite?
Yeah, you know, no, I especially the Ohio breds, it's an opportunity, I think, to say play against Jose Ortiz, right?
Yeah.
Don't make this jockey racing, make it horse racing, period,
right.
for those kinds of races.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, there was a stake race named for Izzy Newborn too, but it was an open stake, and they start dropping the open stake, so poor Izzy got sent down the stakes booklet road. He's out. Right. The other named races, you look at the other. There's the Daniel Stearns Cleveland Gold Cup. Yeah. Daniel Stearns was Dr. Daniel Stearns. He was a vet, and he bred a ton of Ohio bred horses. He's, by the way, from Euclid, Ohio.
Oh, how about that? There we go. I like that. Okay.
He's gone, so they named a stake race after him. God bless his soul, but he had the story. He was going to bred 10-cent mares to 5-cent stallions and hope for the best. So he had a lot of cheap.
Right. You know what, Bob? That's more breeding than I've done. I'll tell you what. So the Globe Cup is the undercard race for the Ohio Derby, mile and an eighth for 3-year-olds as well. How long have they've been running this for? A very long time, yeah?
Oh, 57 years. Yeah. It was like the top Ohio bred stake race for handicap. Like they ran the 2-mile, was it the Gold Cup today at Ascot? Ascot. They don't even say Ascot, at Royal Ascot. Yeah. So this is our answer. This is the poor man's version of the Gold Cup over there.
I smiled so big that there was a course called Ascot in Akron, Ohio. I don't know why that made me smile so big.
It's a great little racetrack. It almost had a county fair look to it, and it would be the first track to open in March, and they would run until April. And I used to sneak down there when I first got my driver's license. Down the road I went to Ascot Park. Yeah. Yeah.
So, by the way, he mentions the Stearns Gold Cup here. I think the 4 Music Jewel is a really interesting 12-1 entry there, Bob. I'm just bringing that up in case someone's looking for a long shot play in there. That's a horse they started in open company in Florida at Tampa, gets back into stakes company last time against Ohio breds for the first time, and it's on the turf and the horse almost wins. Yeah, I think on the dirt, the horse will be a little bit better. I'm looking for that. Man, if we get 10-1 or something on that horse. Alejandro Mendieta is the trainer there. I'm hoping that one runs well. Again, I just think those connections. Yeah, with those connections, I think you're going to get everything at 10 to 12-1.
Right. They ran him once at Gulfstream and twice at Tampa. I don't know this guy, but he went looking for grass. It's one of the great name stake races at Belterra River Downs. The Green Carpet. I always thought that was a great name for a stake race. But you may have something there.
Yeah, I think 12-1 on that. But that's the kind of horse, Bob, that we're talking about when we talk about these Ohio races.
Right.
That's the kind of value you want to go find, right? Is a horse that's going to be 12-15-1.
Yeah, I'll call my bet on your horse from the raft. I can get my phone waterized, whatever the hell. Pay Wi-Fi down there.
Pay attention to the raft, okay? Just don't worry about the Gold Cup. You worry about rafting. All right, my friend. We'll worry about that. All right, and who was Dr. Klassen?
Dr. Ted Klassen was an MD. He had a hospital right around the corner from Thistledown. He had a horse named Brent's Prince, who won the Ohio Derby in a driving rainstorm, and he was president of the Ohio Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners. He's also gone. Well, it says memorial. Of course he's gone. But he was big in Ohio. And Jim Morgan trained for Dr. Klassen. Jim Morgan trained Brent's Prince. Yeah, he was.
By the way, Jim Morgan was on our down here at Louisville, their first national championship team, that NIT team.
Yes.
Yeah, they were really good. All those stories, the Charlie Tyree teams, all that. Yeah, all the stories.
And I think if you look it up, I think Brent's Prince won the round table stakes at Arlington. He was he just didn't have to run in. Well, he didn't run in Ohio against Ohio breds unless he had to, but he won the Ohio Derby. Jockey Benny Feliciano rode him. I'll never forget that.
Owned a hospital around the corner and owned a bunch of horses. I love that kind of stuff. That's great. Yeah.
Right. His son's name was Brent, so he named the horse after his son, Brent's Prince. Yeah.
That is a filly and mare race, 3 and up, sprinting on the dirt there at Thistledown, which of course is the only track that they do have. Some interesting ones in there as well. I don't know that I have a long shot play for you in there, unfortunately, but it should work out to be a fun one. One of the stars of the day, though, Bob, is a race that we're going to go through here. The Lady Jacqueline, race 11, is a $250,000 race for fillies and mares, 3 and up here. And we see Some horses in here people have probably seen in other spot. Where's My Ring, of course, ran in the Kentucky Oaks and Acorn in New York last year. Peignoir is now 4 years old, daughter of Mendelssohn. She comes out of the Falls City at Churchill, and of course, just recently ran in the Allaire DuPont under Flavian Pratt. Jose Ortiz in to ride her. Did you have a favorite in race 11 here, the Lady Jacqueline?
Well, I was looking. Yeah, I like the 6. I mean, you look at her PP. She got beat 5 lengths by Torpedo Anna out in Oaklawn Park, for God's sakes. In fact, I was there that day.
Huh?
I had never been to Oaklawn. I wanted to check it off my bucket list. And you ever been to Oaklawn?
I have. It's unbelievable.
Isn't that a great atmosphere?
It really is incredible. It's the people that make it too. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. So I like this horse a lot. Stakes. I mean, graded stakes place, for God's sake. So
no, that's right.
Yeah, I like. Who do you like?
She's grade 1 place, frankly. Peignoir's really interesting. I thought the DuPont was really disappointing, frankly. She did get really close to the lead there, but Bob, she just lost her legs underneath her. Now, Candide is probably better than anyone in this race, but I think my real issue with Peignoir is if you look at her races in the past year, Bob, when she doesn't have LASIK, she's not great. She just isn't. Yeah. And so I do wonder, this is a LASIK race as well. Right. I wonder for her if the medication thing is going to be enough, because frankly, if you have Flavian Pratt in that field, you should be better than 4th. Like, these are things that should be true in her DuPont start. So I'm with you. I would lean more toward Mike Smith and Where's My Ring. How fun to see Mike Smith back in your neighborhood. How about that?
And that's nothing. I got 2 Hall of Fame jockeys in this at Thistledown for Saturday. By the way, it's raining like hell here right now, but I think it's supposed to clear up. It won't be.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think the 4 is interesting in here as well. A jockey with a really interesting story too, Bob, and in Evan Roman, who was a Northern California mainstay for many years in Golden Gate Fields. Obviously, with their closing, had to find a new spot, and he has made a very good career at both Horseshoe Indianapolis and then at the Ohio tracks. And so it's interesting to watch some of these guys who grow up a very specific racing style. That Tapeta thing out west requires a very different kind of patience than, say, turf racing in Kentucky or something like that. But he's aboard the 4 here in Just My Heels, which, I mean, Bob, we're not going to get into it on this show, but that's a different podcast. Woman in Just Her Heels that's a reference to something very specific here. It was in the Shawnee last time at Churchill Downs. Didn't run great, but this is a horse that's won at 1 mile and a 16th before under Rafa Bejarano. Frankly, back-to-back at Oaklawn in different conditions, Bob. If that Oaklawn form translates to Thistledown, I think she's going to be part of the equation too. I think we'll get every bit of 9-2, maybe even better than that, because I think Where's My Ring, Mike Smith, I think Jose Ortiz, I think they're going to get a ton of money. I think the 4 might be the value.
Oh, no, there'll be value. My note next to her was, can she get the distance? Can she? That's
a real question.
That's what I worry about there.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely legitimate.
Thistledown does carry speed horses, so you never know if she gets the right trip.
Well, and last year, nobody ran anyone down. Right?
Yeah.
We have some scrub on the front. They just run the whole ring. Good for them, I mean, by the way. But yeah, if you can set the pace and keep it, do it.
Yeah, over the years, it's really leaned towards speed. And they lost their track man earlier this year. His name was Johnny Bano. He took the job. He's now the track man at Pimlico.
Oh, okay.
He probably stepped into a good situation with they're going to revive racing there, right?
Oh, the renovation is going to be unbelievable.
So it's probably a good move on his part.
Yeah, a good potential move at least. Yeah, this is also a fascinating day, and a horse like Candlelight Hours, the 5 here, Bob, I think is really interesting. 6-year-old mare here, and if you look at her at Thistledown in 1 mile and an 1/8 races, 1 mile and a 16th type races, she has 2 seconds. She has a first at 1 mile. Another first in the slop at 1 mile and 16th. I think she's the kind of horse too. If you wanted to try to get some more value here, the James Jackson trainee in Candlelight Hours.
You know what? You're right. Look at her record at Thistledown. 10
at Thistle too, yeah.
5 with 8 seconds and 6. Holy cow. 24 out of 25, either 1, 2, 3 for almost $500,000.
Yeah, a no question exacta trifecta kind of play for sure.
God, James Jackson, by the way, came out of Detroit. When racing died in Michigan, he relocated at Thistledown and has done very, very well. He was something in politics in Detroit for years. Like, he was an aide to the mayor of Detroit way back when. I remember interviewing him a few times. Sharp guy. There you go.
Well, good luck to James Jackson. Let's talk about the star of the show. That is the Grade 3 Ohio Derby. Bob Roberts with us, formerly of the Cleveland Plain Deer. You can find him on all of the Ohio Harness websites and different things, doing some handicapping for Northfield Downs, of course, too. Is his last time visiting with us. He'll be dying in West Virginia tomorrow on a raft. But yes, we'll have the Bob Roberts Memorial episode of this show next year. Mile and an eighth on the dirt there at Thistledown for the $500,000 Grade 3 Ohio Derby. Do you have a favorite Ohio Derby winner?
There was a bunch of guys. Was it Return of the Native? They shipped up from Louisville.
Okay.
Years ago. And there was an argument between owners. There was 3 owners, and one guy didn't want to go. And the other 2 says, we're going. We're going to run him. And they ran him. The horse paid like $180 to win. After Garth Patterson rode the horse.
Okay.
I think it was Garth Patterson. And after the race, they're all drinking up in the room. I'm with the Cleveland Press in those days. There was no Sunday paper, so I had no deadline because they run the race on it. I was going to write about it Monday. They got so drunk, they started telling me stories. They made more money betting the race than their share of the purse. And their share of the purse was $60,000. It was $100,000 back then. So these guys, and they couldn't wait to go back to Louisville and torture the hell out of the guy who didn't want to go because he didn't even bet. So,
all right, Bob. Well, you have to play our stupid game that we play on this show, which is whenever we have a big race, we say, can they win? Can they not win? So today is OHNO if they can't win, and oh yeah if they can. All right. So we're going to go through the Ohio Derby field one at a time here. Braerstown, Baytown, obviously out of the Braertown folks here in Kentucky. Baytown partnership there. This is a horse that we did see on the Kentucky Derby Trail. He tried the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby, both at Oaklawn, of course. Cole Battle winning the first one, Sandman the second in that series. OHNO or OH? Oh yeah, for Bob Roberts.
Oh no. Right.
Okay.
He was beating a combined 30 lengths in the Rebel in Arkansas. I think he's outclassed in this race.
Yeah, they tried him into Peter Pan, of course, to see if he would work at Aqueduct, no dice. And then, of course, came back in a non-2-lifer at Churchill at a $50,000 starter allowance, an OHNO for me as well. We go to Chunk of Gold, Kentucky Derby alum here. I think thought we were going to get a Brad Cox trainee to win the Ohio Derby, something like that last year, Bob. Yeah. This would be the kind of horse that I would tend to lean on in my handicapping here, but is he a no or a yeah for you?
Well, he's a no for the win, but he's what I classify as a better, as a sucker horse. 4 starts, 3 seconds. 4 starts, 3 seconds. I can't put him on top, but I got to put him in the 2-hole on betting exactly. That's for darn sure. I mean, he's second in the Louisiana Derby. So yeah, I got to use him, but I wouldn't bet him to win. Okay.
I'm gonna go OH. Oh yeah, with Chunk of Gold. I think he's got a shot here.
I'm writing that down. You're a yes. Okay. If I don't drown, I'm gonna come back and haunt your ass. But go ahead.
I think his Louisiana Derby was sneaky good actually, and I think he'll like the distance, every bit of a mile and an eighth. And frankly, with his running style, with several of these other horses that are in here, Bob, many of them are going to try to get the lead. If he's able to even stalk a little bit in the middle part of that pack, I think he's going to have a shot. I was laughing, Bob, because you were on with me back when Dan Issel was still hosting on the radio. And Dan always talks about owning horses that know if they run second, they get the same food as if they win. And Chunk of Gold seems like
there was a guy that had a maiden claimer at Thistledown years ago. The horse would run like 24 times with 16 seconds. He didn't want him to win. He was making his car payment with the runner-up money. He didn't. He'd lose his best friend if he'd have won. Then he never would have. You need a flashlight to find him. So, yeah, it's different strokes in this game for different people. You know that.
Capo Luca will break from the 3 here. This is out of the Kim Puel barn. And a horse is 3 for 3 lifetime at Thistledown, including 3 times routing. And so this is one that they have found something with. I think probably the most likely of the 10 or longer to one long shots here, Bob, in this race. Do you give this one much of a chance?
I give Kim Poole, who spends his winners at Oaklawn, I give him credit. He claimed this horse for $30,000, and now he's ripped off 3 in a row at Thistledown. Looks like some of the changes were Lasix and front bandages, for God's sakes, ever since he made the change. But I don't think he's a Derby horse. And, this horse also has another tradition. You got a field of how many here? 10? There's a tradition that two or 3 can come out. And maybe these long shots, they wait for another day. So, no, he's a Oh, no, for me. No.
Bob, an OHNO there. I'm an OHNO as well.
Yeah.
Bob, the Lasix is what concerns me, actually. All three of those wins at Thistle with the Lasix, and he's not going to get them here. I do wonder if there's going to be a medication issue here. Not issue, sorry, but just a change that's not going to be positive for the horse.
Yeah. It's a negative for him. You're right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. You're right.
The story would be awesome, and frankly, I wouldn't be mad if that horse won the race at all. My top pick here.
Yeah. By the way, Kim Poole, he popped out in Oakland. He pops the horse is $60, $72.
That's exactly.
You never know with this guy. That jockey is old enough to be both our fathers. He's been riding at Thistledown for a long time. Louie Gonzalez, nice guy.
There you go. McAfee will be the 4 here, and I try to read cues as often as I can. Bob, John Velasquez is making the trip to Northeast Ohio for Saturday. I'll go OH, yeah, on McAfee. I will put him on top. I thought his Peter Pan was very, very good. I think he's in good form right now. I think this is exactly the kind of level he needs to be at. Give me McAfee to win the Ohio Derby. Is he an OHNO for you or an OHO? Yeah.
Oh, he's an OHOH. Yeah, for me. This is the horse I'm going to bet to win. By the way, I keep bias books on Naira Racing, Churchill Racing. On May 10th, when he ran into Peter Pan, it was not a good day for front runners. And he hung in there pretty good just to get beat less than a length. So I like this horse. And you said he put blinkers on him last time for the first time, and it picked up his head. And Johnny V's coming to ride him for a Dickie Dutrow. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious giveaway to me that they think they've got something there for sure. Extradition will break from the 5. This is out of the DaCosta barn. Rocco Bone, very, very regular up there at Thistle, will get the ride here. It's a horse that won in the slop over a mile, a couple back, claimed out of that, or taken out of that, out of the Asmussen barn and moved into the DaCosta. Not as good last time out over a mile. Bob, OHNO or OH? Oh, yeah.
OH, no, and O. No, he looks like he's overset. He's another one that's locally based here with Jason DaCosta. But I can't. You see, he tried, what was it, the Riley Allison Derby at Sunland?
Yep.
He got beat off pretty bad that day. And no, he won't be on my ticket. How about you?
Yeah, he's a no for me, and for many of the reasons that you just outlined as well. If I knew it was going to rain like crazy, I'd throw him in every exacta trifecta that I plan to play, but it's not going to. And so we'll go OHNO with Extradition on that one. A Preakness alum here, winner of the Hot Springs to qualify for the Preakness, was Clever Again, was part of that, whatever you want to call it, issue moment with journalism in the stretch there at Pimlico, of course, ended up at the rail and ended up 30 lengths back of the rest of the field there. In the Preakness, was running very well to that point, though, had the lead in the Preakness for a while, Bob, and will very likely be the favorite here for Steve Asmussen and Jose Ortiz. OHNO or OHO? Yeah.
OHNO. That, beating off 30 lengths, he just threw in the towel when he got
of course, right.
Rail. I mean, that's an interesting that race. I don't know what the heck was in Pratt's mind. If he was mad at somebody, or he took a hard left into those two horses. I think he should have got days for that, tell you the truth. And by the way, I probably would have fined what's his name, Rispoli, for his ride too, for trying to make his own hole. I wouldn't have suspended him. I think I'd have fined him for careless riding. But I was shocked.
I think both guys could have gotten something. I wouldn't have argued with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think his problem is going to be the horse on the outside when we get down to number 10. I think that's going to be Clever Again's problem Saturday.
I'm interested in Clever Again, and I'm going to go OH. Yeah, just I saw enough in the Hot Springs that I think he's good. Here's my thing, Bob, and I think it's something we underrate in this sport, is how is the horse going to respond to what happened to him in the Preakness?
Yeah, good point.
Like when a horse comes up next to him, is he going to flinch? Is he going to try to get away? Is he going to make a mistake that way? And Asmussen was not happy after the Preakness at all because of
those comments. Right.
And by the way, I appreciate him doing that. I feel too often in our sport, Bob, we don't get those kind of comments when I know that's how the guys feel. Oh, it's off the record. Stop telling me it's off the record. Tell me how you feel. People should know that you are mad about what happened. Your owner should be able to have that out in the public, and they shouldn't have to be the ones that are doing the complaining. You should be that person. I think this is a son of American Pharaoh, Galileo on the damn side. This might end up being a turf horse, but I think for right now, he is certainly talented enough in this field to win. And if Jose can get him a good ride, get him away from some trouble, I think he'll be just fine.
I agree with you. I'm trying to look up Church. I got today's form in my hand, but you're right. This is a lightly raced horse.
Very lightly.
When a horse gets nailed like that, that's not the best thing. I'm trying to look at today's form. Asmussen, he's having a horrible meet at Churchill.
Yes, it's not been good here at Churchill.
Wow, 8 for 112.
I don't want to say that nepotism kills, Bob, but it doesn't help.
Oh, I know where you're going. Say what you mean, Louie. Mean what you say.
Louis Saez is here. Jose Ortiz is here. Jose Ortiz is here. Louis Saez is here. And you're running for $141,000 in an allowance.
Yeah.
And you pick Eric Asmussen. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I can't argue with that point. I know, guys. I bet
if I were an owner, I'd be beyond livid.
I know a guy who plays Oaklawn every day, and now he plays Churchill every day, and he's not too crazy about the rider selections by the Hall of Fame trainer. You're right.
Oh, Bohemian Style will break from the 7. This is a Florida bred up here in the Ohio Derby, last seen at Presque Isle on the synthetic. But first off the claim here into the Nestor Rivera barn, where he hits at 23%. What say you, Bob, about Bohemian Style, the 7 OHNO or OHO yet?
I say OH, yes, scratch him. What are we doing here with a 12-5 claimer? This horse has got to come out. He can't run this horse in here. I mean, I believe everybody should dream, but my goodness, come on. You just claim the horse. It's the greatest story of the year if this horse wins. You know that. Plus, everybody left the pee in the bottle. The horse, the trainer, the owner, everybody. The guy selling the forms. This horse wins off a 12-5 claim.
At Presque Isle.
No, he's an OH no to bet. No.
Oh, man.
Well,
I put scratch him on the screen for him. I feel very strongly about putting that on the screen for him.
Scratch.
He's an OHNO for me. All right.
Very good.
Corvino comes in the 8. This is a horse that started its career at Del Mar, but didn't break his maiden until a maiden 100,000. Of course, they have those at Oaklawn. At Oaklawn, over a muddy surface, came back really good second over a wet fast track, and a second over a sloppy track, but over dry dirt. Bob, never better than third has been Corvino. But hey, Peter Miller doesn't ship for no reason. This one's also cross-entered tomorrow at Churchill Downs, so we'll see if he stays in at Churchill or makes the trip to Ohio.
What's the entered in at Churchill? What's the entered in?
Race 6 tomorrow.
Not a stake?
No.
I'm betting OH scratch on this one too. I can't imagine that. But Mike Smith is gonna. Well, maybe he's got a mount in the Lady Jacqueline, but I don't know. He could be a scratch too if this horse comes out.
I was going to say you might not see Mike at Thistledown for the Lady Jacqueline if his other horse.
My note was Smith ? What's up ? I don't. Yeah, the one stake race was the Jeff Ruby. Yep. It was 63-1 in the Jeff Ruby. I know it's artificial, but I don't think he. OH scratch Peter Miller.
Oh
yeah.
OH scratch. I didn't know I needed a third category here, but Bob Roberts with us, of course.
You put it on the screen. I'm with you.
Corvino's a no for me, but it's he's an interesting one because Bob, this is if I had not brought the knowledge of what happened last year to this version of this podcast, you would have thought no chance on this horse, and he would have won easily last year. So I don't know. Yeah. We've seen stranger things than Mike Smith getting a lead with a horse like this and just, dog walking him. But this is just not a horse that wants the lead. It's a closer. He has one lifetime win in that maiden race. I'm with you. This is 12-1. I think is mostly just that Mike Smith's down.
If they knew it was going to pour, they might ship him because he broke that maiden for 100,000 claiming at Oaklawn, and then he ran good in the slop at Oaklawn too. He ran second, so. Horse racing's horse racing. You never know, man. You never know.
Master Controller coming out of a maiden 100,000 win at Churchill, 6.5 furlongs on that one. Did trial a mile and a 16th at the maiden ranks before that. This is Brittany Vandenberg, who has yet to win a graded stakes. What say you, OHNO or OH? Oh, yeah.
OH, maybe. This horse interests me a little bit. He was impressive off the layoff. My goodness. To win that race on May 24th at Churchill. I'm coming. I would throw this horse in. And
20-1.
Look at the bullet workouts.
Yep. Horse is fast. There's no question about that. The horse is fast. That's right.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But I would throw him in underneath in my gimmick. Yeah.
All right. So Bob says maybe up on the screen for that one. Louie says OHNO. That's my take on this horse. This feels more like, hey, if you want to beat me, go ahead. Tried a mile at Churchill up the track, or at Kentucky Downs up the track, 7 furlongs at Keeneland up the track, etc. Getting in against good company does not seem to be something that's good for this horse. And so I will let this son of Tapiture go ahead and beat me. But Mo Plex is on the outside. I've already picked up on the cues earlier on. Bob's a pretty big fan of this one. And Joe Ramos, who did have a Kentucky Derby mount this year and is the leading rider at Horseshoe Indianapolis, in town to ride on this Saturday. This is a horse that won the Bayshore last time at 7 furlongs at Aqueduct. Is in very, very reasonably good splits there on the deep sandy path there on Long Island as well, Bob. So no, yeah, for you?
Yeah, because he either, I mean, if they let him go, if Clever again and Master Controller, but I don't think they're going to let him go. Yeah, he fought every step of the way in that Bayshore. It was a very, very good effort in there. I wonder why Manny Franco doesn't want to come and ride him. I don't know what stakes they have at New York on Saturday, if any. Or what?
It's a good question why he's not making the trip, but I do think this horse has only ever had Irad and Manny as jockeys. Like they think that much of him to book these kinds of connections. Like you said, he's going to be the early speed here. He's clearly the fastest horse out of the gate in this one. He's breaking from the outside in the 10. Can you describe to people, can a horse break from the 10 and get into good position by the time they get to the turn at Thistle?
Oh, yeah. Especially if he's a speed horse like this. Oh, yeah, he can get over. You know, I just looked at the lineup for Belmont at Aqueduct Saturday. Yeah. They got they got a 200.
Is it state bred?
Oh, $150,000 New York bred stake race. I wouldn't keep you in New York if you wanted to ride that horse.
I agree with you, actually. Is that a giveaway to you that maybe they're not too high on him then?
Right.
Joe's a nice rider, though. Let's not do that part. I mean, Joe's a good rider. I mean,
I didn't know that about Ramos, but I'm surprised.
Joe's got a cool story, Bob, that I think you would appreciate. He's one of these young guys that is a need for speed type. He got into a very stupid motorcycle accident last year and had to go through the recovery process. He's a different rider since he came back, more focused, more all those things. And I want to get I know Joe personally, but I want to give him credit because he was headed to the wrong spot. He's really righted things, and I think he's going to win the riding title in Indiana. And there's nothing wrong with winning a riding title at a place like Indiana that runs 4 or 5 days a week, and you're running for 40,000 all the time. I mean, that's a good spot to be.
When is the Indiana Derby this year? Do you know the date?
July 5th. You coming?
Oh, jeez.
Come on, Bob. There's no rafts. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't pretend there's a rafting trip or something. Don't do this.
No. Guess what it is? I was lucky enough 3 years ago. I got inducted into the Harness Racing Hall of Fame Writers Wing, and they always have the banquet in Goshen, New York, at the Hall of Fame, 4th of July weekend. And the general manager from Northfield Park is being inducted, and we're all going up there on July 5th because the dinner is on the 6th. Because I am going to go to – I've never been to Indiana, Horseshoe, Indiana. I'm going this year, but I won't be able to – you go often or you just go once a year?
I do. Why don't you and I coordinate? Why don't we go to Indiana Champions Day together?
What date is that?
It's in November.
I'm rafting that day too. It's ice rafting. Just kidding. Don't tell me it's not Thanksgiving.
No. It's way before that. It's usually like the Saturday after Breeders' Cup, something like that. Or 2 weeks after, something like that. Because the claiming crowds in there, that kind of thing. You know what, Bob? You think I can't get you undercover? You think I can't get you in a nice little covered seat, owner's suite? You're worried about us? You're worried about me at Indiana Grand? Come on.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you the story, but John Dooley and I.
Yeah.
John Dooley's first full-time job was the track announcer at Thistledown.
Yep. And
we used to hang out a lot. I haven't seen him for a long, long time, so I got to get up there. All right.
Oh, you know Dooley, then we got to go.
Right.
You leave the ice rafting to the grandkids, and you and
I. You got time? I got to tell you a quick John Dooley.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
I'm a big professional soccer fan, English soccer, Italian soccer.
Yep.
I would tape games in the days of the VHS, bring the tape into the track. I had a VCR. I had a player in the press box, and I would tape Thistle's races for trip handicapping. But he would sit there and watch the English soccer games with me, trying to get phrases to use in his race calls. And so some guys dribbling between defenders, and the announcer says, he's really in the mood today. Dooley would incorporate that in some horse broke off at the 8th pole and opened up. You go, he's really in the mood today. So yeah, him and I go way back.
Fantastic. Everybody has their thing in their sport that they cover that they love more than other people. Track announcers is very much mine. And because I think what they do is so incredibly unique and so different than everything else that's involved in sports. And calling a horse race is just such a different.
Louie, I could probably call the first race, and then the second race I'm going to use all the names again from the first race.
That's exactly
could do one race. Yeah.
Right. Oh, and if you're a guy like Dooley and you're at Fairgrounds or you're in Indiana and there's 9, 10, 11 horses in every race and you're reeling off, and then he calls a quarter horse sprint for 300 yards at the end of the day. No, thank you. There's no chance I could do that stuff.
You want to call the Derby on a sloppy day? Not 20 horses. You want to try that one? You don't know what's coming at you when they turn for a home. The great story I heard about a track announcer, track announcer at a harness track was caught in the bathroom and they're off. He didn't complete his transaction in time. So he gets back to the booth and the racing. They've run a quarter of a mile. So you know what he did? He took the microphone and goes, is this thing working yet? Okay, let's pick up now. So he played it on an electrician.
It didn't work because you knew the story, but it was a good attempt at least. So golf tomorrow, then whitewater rafting. Is there anything else that you're going to be doing that I'll never do?
Well, on Sunday when we all get back, my real last name isn't Roberts. That's a newspaper name. My real last name is Randazzo. Very Italian. So when I come back, all the grandkids who didn't come with us, the granddaughters and all my daughters, be a big feast at the house. So if you're not doing anything Sunday, drive up.
Wow.
Every day is Thanksgiving.
What is the name of is it Little Italy pasta sauce that comes from Cleveland?
The neighborhood there's 2 Italian neighborhoods in Cleveland, Collinwood and Murray Hill, which they call Little Italy. Yeah. We got great Italian food in Cleveland. A lot of Italians here.
Cleveland's own, right? The Little Italy sauce, right? Am I thinking of that? Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
You got it.
It's really good.
Yeah. Have you found any good Italian restaurants in Louisville?
There's like 2. It's tough, man. It's tough sledding. It's not good. It's not it's not like a Detroit or a Cleveland where there are like designated spots. There just wasn't Italian immigration here like that. There just wasn't.
Porcini still there? That was.
Oh yeah, that place is good. Yep, that's one of them.
Hey, one Derby day I woke up for some reason I had a taste for a bagel. Try to find a good bagel in Louisville. I went to a food. I think they just took white bread and formed it into a circle.
It's not good. Nancy's Bagels. Next time you're in town, Nancy's. It's about 10 minutes from the track. Nice and easy.
Okay.
All right, Bob. Well, safe travels, safe golf, and all the things. Where can people find you? Railbird Bob Roberts, of course, on the Twitter. Where else can they find you?
Where else can they find me? Well, there's a paper out of online called Press Pro. It's out of Dayton, Cincinnati. I'm writing articles for them too. It's online. It's an online sports paper, so I'm on there too. And then the handicapping I do is for the select players, some express bets. So that's those are the guys that are betting like.
Right. They've been a sponsor on the show before, for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But they can see us together in Indiana this fall. How's that?
That's exactly right. That's obviously Bob and I will be in Indiana, and all of you should be as well.
That's right.
This weekend, bet in Ohio. How about that?
You got it, pal.
By the way, who is Lady Jacqueline? We never asked that question.
That's a takeoff on the word Jack Entertainment Casino. The female, Jacqueline for that. That's new. That's only a few years old. That's a newbie.
It's not a bad one. Right. All right, Bob. We appreciate you, buddy. I will 50-50, but I'll talk to you next year.
You got it, Louie.
That sounds good. See you,
Take care, pal.
Yes, sir. Bob Roberts. There you go. A closet Italian. We had no idea. There you go. Bob Roberts joining us from up there in Northeast Ohio. One of my favorite visits every year is with Bob. And hey, if you're betting the races this weekend, of course, we encourage you to check out our friends at AmWager. Get the AmWager Edge, that platform built for you by horse players as well, delivering speed, power, top tier features for predictive true odds to conditional wagering. So whether you're playing that simple win bet or you're trying to pick six, they've got the tools you need to bet smarter. Check them out right now. Up to a 100% deposit match. Up to $150. 100% deposit match up to $150. You put in $1, they put in $1. You need an edge. You need AmWager. AmWager.com. AmWager.com. That'll wrap up our Ohio Derby preview show. Louie Rabeau, really appreciate Bob. I love that guy so much. He is just an absolute maniac. He is just one of my very, very favorite dudes to get on this show. So I appreciate him jumping on with us. We'll be back next week. Of course, we'll be doing the Stephen Foster preview show for that one. I'll be out at Churchill Downs Friday morning ahead of that as well on my local ESPN Louisville show here as well on ESPN 81. You're certainly welcome to join me for that. Talking to Anthony Pascal from FanDuel tomorrow on Revo & Co. at 10:20 a.m. Friday here in the market. ESPNLouisville.com for everything we do over there as well. For Bob, I'm Louie. Thanks so much for joining us here on this rendition of the Horse.